Devin Haney won his rematch with George Kambosos Jr. to retain his WBA Super, WBC, IBF, WBO, and the Ring lightweight titles and remain the undefeated, undisputed lightweight champion this past weekend. In doing so, he proved he is currently one of the pound-for-pound best on the planet. Today, we're discussing how Haney showed it all and that those lingering Floyd-Mayweather comparisons are no accident at all, so stay right where you are. Let's get straight into it then. What's going on? Haney scored his second unanimous decision win over Australia's Kambosos Jr. last weekend, proving along the way that he has the minerals to go to the other side of the world and put his titles on the line and still walk away victorious. At just 23 years old, Haney is already a colossus of the sport, and his performance on Saturday night showed why he is being spoken of in the same breath as Floyd Money Mayweather, as he kept Kambosos at bay with his superb, almost mechanical jab throughout. Haney said after the fight that he views himself as a complete fighter, explaining that he showed an array of punches and a certain ring generalship before adding, "There's not one way that you could beat Devin Haney, or there's not just one style I could beat you in." Kambosos, on the other hand, just didn't have what it took to be able to stop Haney, as the American adjusted each time George switched stances. Speaking about his opponent after the fight, the Aussie said, "This guy's a pound-for-pounder. This guy is a hell of a fighter. I don't know how much longer he has at 135 pounds. He's big, he's rangy, he's just a good fighter, man," which is difficult to disagree with. Devin was snubbed in the pound-for-pound rankings after the last Kambosos fight, but there is absolutely no way the powers that be can overlook him after yet another dominant performance over a former champion. What else do we know then? Stick around to find out. Well, Haney himself believes there's no way he can be denied a spot on the P4P list, explaining that those particular rankings are not just wins or whatever, it's skill set, which he showed in abundance on Saturday, explaining that he can do it all. Haney has also added that he is the youngest world champion in boxing. I mean, he provides a solid argument, right? But whether or not he sticks around at lightweight much longer remains to be seen. For such a big guy in the division, it's difficult for him to get down to 135, and promoter Lou DiBella believes it's only a matter of time before he turns out at 140 pounds. However, there's unfinished business at lightweight, as he wants to take care of the likes of Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia, and Gervonta Davis, explaining that it takes sacrifice and discipline to make the lighter weight. He also said there is a lot of money down there too, which is probably a good enough motivation to stick around short term. And one former world champion, Mickey Bay, has suggested that Haney has what it takes to reach the Mayweather level, a sentiment echoed by DiBella, who said that George knew he would be walking into a tornado, but then added, "That's the greatness of a guy like this, Haney, and the greatness of Floyd Mayweather. You notice I'm using them in the same breath, and that's not accidental." What do you guys make of the Floyd comparisons? So where does all this leave Kambosos? Well, losing back-to-back fights in the big leagues is a serious blow, no matter who you are. But some boxing experts have suggested that given the fact he was expected to lose, his stock hasn't dropped too much. He hit an all-time low back in June as Haney became the youngest undisputed champion at his expense, but some believe it was his own fault, as he took the most difficult fight possible as his first defense. Others have given him credit for the decision. Kambosos has proved he is willing to fight the best of the best, so if someone can manage to wrestle Haney's title from him in the next few years, there's no reason why Kambosos couldn't be given another shot. I mean, he's still a top 5 lightweight and has proven he is a draw. Lou DiBella explained that people love that, a fighter who is willing to fight the best. And with Haney potentially moving up in the next couple of fights, there's no reason why Kambosos couldn't be given another shot at redemption when he does finally move up. DiBella went on, I know today and I know the rest of this week and going forward, when you read about this fight, the man here is a warrior. He's been a Spartan warrior his whole career. Don't be surprised if you see George Kambosos Jr. in another lightweight world title fight in the next couple of years. What do you guys think? Next up, news from the Shields vs. Marshall clash now. Stick around. Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall were supposed to go to war a few weeks back in the UK, but with the death of the Queen, the fight was postponed until this past weekend, and the pair had history coming into this one, as the big punching Brit, Marshall, actually beat Shields in the amateurs. The self-proclaimed GWOAT, Shields, put on a superb performance to beat her longtime rival via unanimous decision on Saturday night in the English capital, with many suggesting the performance was actually the best of her career. The judges all scored it in favor of the American, as the cards at the end of the fight read 96-94, 97-93, 97-93, with Shields adding the WBO middleweight title to the WBA, WBC, IBF, WBF, and the Ring female middleweight titles she already owned. The pair were involved in a frosty back and forth leading up to the fight, but put all that behind them after the fight, as both paid tribute to the other after the final bell. After winning a fight billed as the biggest in women's boxing history, Shields revealed that it wasn't just a huge night for her, but all of the women on the card. card, before adding, "Women's boxing has been around for so many years and so many greats that came before us, but here we are in front of 20,000 fans in London at the O2 Arena, and I think that's the fight of the year. Well done, ladies." News of the return of the Bronze Bomber. Now, stay with us. Deontay Wilder returned to the ring for the first time since being finished in the 11th round against Tyson Fury 12 months ago, dispatching his opponent via brutal KO in the very first round at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn on Saturday. Wilder was the overwhelming favorite coming into the fight, but not many would have predicted a first-round finish in the manner he produced, as he knocked the big finish opponent out cold. With just a few seconds left in the first, Deontay landed his famous huge right hand, and that was all she wrote for Robert Helenius, who never really looked comfortable in there. After the fight, Wilder said it was a great night, before adding that his game plan was to be mobile, agile, and hostile. He then explained, "I set him up, allowed him to reach, and then when he reached, I attacked." And attack he did. The devastating knockout had social media users sharing the clip far and wide, and proved to any doubters that there is still a fight in the old dog yet. Wilder then suggested he wanted to get back to making his fights fun, as he was running the risk of turning his career into a job, before saying his plan paid off big time. Give us your thoughts on who Deontay should face next. Andy Ruiz, perhaps? And finally, a huge rematch has been agreed upon. Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor have agreed on terms for their rematch. The pair will fight again in February, exactly a year on from what many have suggested was the biggest robbery in recent years. England's Catterall was ahead on many people's scorecards, but the judges egregiously gave the fight to Scotland's Taylor. The fight will be hosted at the exact same venue where the pair first met, the Hydro in Glasgow, and Taylor has been forced to vacate 3 of the 4 light welterweight titles he shouldn't have had in the first place in order to grant Catterall the rematch everybody knows he deserved. Going into last year's bout, Catterall was unbeaten, and many had him pegged as a future world champion. If he can get past Taylor in the rematch, February's horrendous decision will be quickly forgotten, but he shouldn't underestimate the Scot, who has recently changed up his training team in a bid to prepare for the Englishman. Taylor's WBA Super, WBC, IBF, WBO, and the Ring light welterweight titles will all be on the line, titles which Catterall believes are rightly his. Who do you guys have? Let us know below. As usual, thanks for dropping in on us today, and remember to tune in again next time for some more fun and games. And why not do us a big favor by liking and sharing today's video, whilst also subscribing to our channel for more great videos in the near future.